Hello dear students. Today, we are going to discuss the first lesson of the first unit. What is language? The concept of language is very rich. However, there are many definitions of language, not only one. Generally, we can define language as a structured system of communication. However, there are many definitions by famous scholars. Let's have a look. Ferdinand de Saussure defined language as a system of signs that express ideas. Let me explain. Language is a system means that it is organized, not random. In other words, language follows rules and structures, such as grammar rules, sound rules, morphology, and semantic rules. Signs can be linguistic or non-linguistic. According to de Saussure, each sign equals the signifier plus the signified. The signifier is the form of the word. It can be a sound, a letter, or an image. In the other hand, the signified means the concept or the ideas that we have in our minds about the form of the word. Look at this example. We have the image of a dog and we have the word dog. These are the signifier. In the other hand, we have our idea or the mental image about the dog. This is the signified. Though the relationship between the signifier and the signified, as de Saussure claimed, is arbitrary. The arbitrariness of signs means that there's no natural reason why, for example, the sound dog means dog. It is agreed upon by society. Let me give you another example. Let's translate the word dog in different languages. For example, in French is chien, and in Spanish is perro. All of these words refer to the same concept, but the words are completely different. This shows arbitrariness. The purpose these signs is communication of thoughts, concepts, and feelings. These signs can be used in different ways. When we express our thoughts using a simple sentence. For example, you want water, this is the thought. And you say I am thirsty. So this is the expression. When we express our thoughts using an abstract concept such as the expression of freedom or a speech about independence in order to express the idea of freedom. Or when we express our thoughts using non-linguistic or non-verbal signs. As an example, we have the idea of danger. As an expression, we may see a warning sign or a red light. The second scholars is Edward Sapir, who defined language in 1921 as a purely human and non-instinctive method of communicating ideas, emotions, and desires by means of voluntarily produced symbols. Language as a purely human means that it is unique to humans only. i.e., animals do not have true language. Non-instinctive means that language is learned, not innate, i.e., it is not something we are born with like breathing or crying. Language is a method of communication means that language's main purpose is to share ideas, feelings, and needs. The symbols that we produce to make language can be spoken words, written signs, or gestures. However, humans choose the signs, they are not biologically fixed. Let me give some examples. When you say, I love music, you are expressing emotion using voluntarily chosen symbols, words. When you write, meeting at 5 p.m., you are using language to communicate an idea. When you wave your hand to say, hello, non-verbal symbol, still part of the communication system. To sum up, Sapir emphasizes two things. First, human uniqueness. Language is not instinctive like animal cries. And second, symbolic nature. Language uses symbols, not direct actions. Last but not least, the definition of Noam Chomsky in 1968, which says that language is a set of finite or infinite sentences, each finite in length and constructed out of a finite set of elements. Chomsky defined language as a set of sentences, by means, rule-based, producing grammatical sentences. The finite set of elements are words, sounds, and grammatical rules, which are limited. The infinite sentences are the endless sentences produced by humans by combining elements creatively. Let me give you examples. We have a finite set of words like, the cat sits on the mat. Yet, we can make infinite variations, such as, the cat sits on the mat. The big cat sits on the old mat in the sunny garden. The cat that chased the mouse sat on the mat which was near the door. This shows infinite creativity from finite rules. Another point to take into consideration is that Chomsky focused on the competence, in which he distinguished competence as the mental knowledge of language, and performance as the actual speech, which can have errors. In this definition, he gave us two theories, which are the universal grammar or the UG, which is about the innateness of language, i.e. humans are born with an innate ability to learn language, and generativity, that shows that we can create infinite sentences from limited vocabulary and rules. Now let's summarize the definitions and see the difference between them. Saussure considers language as a human symbolic communication method. Sapir considers language as a social system of signs. And Chomsky considers language as formal system of rules enabling infinite creativity, based on innate capacity. David Crystal defined language in 1987 as the systematic, conventional use of sounds, signs, or written symbols in a human society for communication and self-expression. From this definition we can see the characteristics of language, which are systematic, symbolic, and communicative, as well as its functions, which are expressive, informative, and social. By the end of the session I will ask you a question. Why do we need language? See you in the next session.